Hey guys, I'm Nick Jamell. I'm here again with my newest episode. I think it's episode 7 now of just joining in on the conversation of our generation and just talking about ideas that I come across in my daily life. Things, music, philosophy, books, anything that kind of speaks to me and makes me think, makes me question something that I believe maybe, that challenges my point of view, that maybe reinforces my point of view, or just I think is a good conversation starter. A lot of times music's never gonna, I mean, it can change your life, I guess, but a lot of times music just is a great way to kind of look at things in a different way and talk about it, and and same with philosophy and all these things. So my goal here is to just create a dialogue and hopefully get people joining in on it and really talking back with me in the comment section and giving me ideas of things to talk about or correcting things that I get wrong a little bit, and you know maybe even adding on to the conversation or asking questions, whatever, and that's what I want to have happen here. And so today I want to talk about, like, making the difference, first of all, between intrapreneur and entrepreneur and what those things mean, and kind of the benefits of them and of each one, and where I kind of see myself moving within between these two. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. This is going to be a little bit more personal of a thing and of an idea rather than, you know, my take on, a worldly, or like an external, like, I guess it's going to be more of my experience rather than my thoughts on something that I come across, I guess, is how I should put it. And so, um, so let's get into the definition. So everyone knows kind of what an entrepreneur is. It's someone who starts their business and they create a business out of an idea or out of a product that they have or a service or whatever it is. They create a business and they begin hiring people. And I listen to Jack Spirko, and I like how he describes, when you're an entrepreneur is when you're making money whether or not you're working, and you don't work for anybody else. It's not PTO. It's, you're off this week on vacation and there's still money coming in. That's how you're an entrepreneur versus, well, like self-employed, where you don't work for a plumbing company, but you're still a plumber and you wait for calls, and if you don't have calls that week, or if you go on vacation for a week, then you're not making any money, kind of thing. But if you have a plumber business and you have people working for you, they're making money, bringing in revenue for you. You just hire them for jobs, and etc. That's how you're an entrepreneur versus self-employed, or something along those lines. And so that's what an entrepreneur is. An intrapreneur is kind of more of what I am at the moment, and it's someone who is working within an existing company to change it. They're a change agent in their in their company, and they're working to make it better. So they are the kind of people like, I can't think of somebody right now off the top of my head. The new president of Nike. I can't think of his name right now, but he's a good example where he kind of took the reins of Nike from Phil Knight, and now he took the reins, but he's still innovating and he's still changing Nike and making it move with the way the business is going, or the way the sports market is going. So it's kind of it's someone who rises up from, for me, I started off as a sales associate, and now I'm a store manager. I'm only 22 years old. I've been working there for 6 years. It's the only job I've ever had, or the only company I've ever worked for. I've had a few jobs here now, but I've been able to influence the way people around me work and the way people in my district think, and I've been able to change my area that I have handle on. And as I grow within the company, I'm able to change more. If you're a district manager, you have more influence. If you're a VP, vice president of a region, or a vice president of a certain department, you have a lot more influence than a store manager or a salesperson does, obviously. And so that's where I am right now, and it's something that, as a 22-year-old, I kind of haven't had time to build up the capital and to go off on my own and be an entrepreneur. But being an entrepreneur gives you a lot of the skill sets that you need. You learn how to influence. You learn how to take initiative and try new ideas, and learn how to take failure and learn from it. And that's those are the kind of skills that I'm looking to work on right now and get better at, because those are the kind of things that are going to translate into any sort of intrapreneurial experience that I do. Entrepreneurial, I should say, not intra. So it's intras because you're out doing your own thing, intra because you're inside working from within a company. So that's kind of the difference, basically. And so the benefits is, obviously entrepreneurism has the freedom. That's what kind of is drawing me, because I'm not really afraid of failure and risk. I mean, I know that as a 22-year-old, if I start a business now and it works for a couple years and I fail, or it doesn't ever work at all, like, I can find a job. I'm a decently skilled person. I think I can, as a young kid who's, tried to start their own business, I think I could find a job that would, be a safety net. And also, I don't plan on leaving my job anytime soon, because as of now, I don't have that. And so as I start it up, it'll be both of those simultaneously. Right now I'm in school as well. I have a year left of college to finish up, just to have, my degree and just to have it. And so I don't really have the ability at the moment to really branch out and just cut it all cold turkey, because I still have to work on paying for school and all that, and I have to, kind of keep the bills, the ones that I have. So, so that's, my personal thing. But I am drawn to the freedom and the freedom that it offers, and I'm not afraid of the risk, I guess, as much is the reason why I'm really drawn to entrepreneurism. And for intrapreneurism, I like, the good thing about it is, I mean, you have a lot more security. It's a lot less risky. There's not as much of a reward, but there is a lot of reward for taking initiative, influencing people that you can, and building up the business that exists for you. So if you're the kind of person who can, really coach a team up and get them going and make, if you're a manager who can get 10 people performing much better than they do on their own, or much better than they did for the last guy, and you can have 20% sales gains, I'm telling you, if you can do 20% sales gains year over year, double-digit sales gains year over year, in most industries, you're going somewhere in that company, and you're gonna get paid, And so that's kind of what an entrepreneur does. And they have a little bit more of a cap, because unless you have the right degrees to go into being a high-level manager, which is, what I set off doing. I told someone recently about this, that, my first day at work as a sales associate, I was like, I'm going to run this company someday. And so, and I don't want to mention the company by name on here. People who know me know, and people who don't, I don't want to mention it, because, I'm still representative of the company, and I just don't feel like, I should do that. I just don't want to name it in case there's something that comes up here, and I don't want to be, falling back on the company. And so that's just why I don't say. But it might slip eventually. Who knows? So that's kind of what I'm working on right now, is developing the skills by being an entrepreneur in my company, in order to eventually maybe start my own venture and see what I can do. And so what I'm doing in the meanwhile, and this is something that I think anybody can do with it in whatever industry you work in, and that is look out for trends in your industry, and in your industry and in your profession. So if you're an HR person, or if you're in marketing, or if you're in finance or accounting or whatever, look for trends in that field, as well as, like, if you're an accountant for a car dealership, or if you're in marketing for fruit juice or whatever, I don't know. Like, look at what's happening in both those things, because you have a handle on that, and you can really see opportunity that maybe, management a lot of times doesn't see the writing on the wall. I mean, that's why Sears has nearly gone bankrupt twice, because the guy who said maybe we shouldn't just be selling out of a catalog, we should probably go, look at these brick and mortar stores, because they're kind of popping up. These big department stores are everywhere, and they're stealing our business. And someone's like, get out of here, you idiot. And, well, we all know who won that argument in the long run, seeing as no one orders out of a Sears catalog, and everyone goes to a Sears department store. And then they got behind on the online, and they're about to go bankrupt again now. So management's always not seeing the writing on the walls, and that's a perfect example. But some do. Amazon has seen the writing on the walls for a while, and they've been reacting and doing incredible things, and like incredible stuff. I mean, it's awesome what they do, and they're always trying new stuff, and that's what's so cool about a company like that has a real entrepreneur leading it. But for me, I am looking around me. I work in athletic, like retail, and so I look around in the industry and I try to see what's going on there, and I try to, sometimes it's not even like your industry, but like how marketing's occurring in your industry. Like now, I mean, I've just noticed how, sorry, I've just noticed how the marketing has changed from like, the traditional, you get somebody to put their name on a product, sort of like who's a celebrity. Now it's like you get content creators to put their name on a product, and I think that's really, really cool. Because now you have all sorts of niches, and instead of like these huge big brands, I mean, there's still big brands in there, but they have like all these little niches within each brand for these different types of content creators, and these little followings. Like it might be a musician, it might be a photographer, a fitness person, or whatever, and all these people have influence over a certain number of people, whether it's millions or hundreds of thousands or thousands or whatever. They have influence over a certain number of people, and those people will look to their products that have their name on them. And so that's how they do it now, and it's really cool. I mean, I think it's interesting, and I think that's the kind of trends that you can see in with the way news is going right now. Like, I don't get my news off of a network, right leaning or left leaning. I get my news from online sources, from podcasts and things like that, because I trust an individual person who admits their bias, who's looking at a New York Times article to say, like, look, this is true, but it's bullshit. Or to look at Fox and be like, this is true, but it's also bullshit, because this statistic is not false, but the way they present it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm not going to get into all that right now, but so all these little trends pop up, and so what an entrepreneur does is they bring these trends to their boss and they say, hey, I got an idea of how we can capitalize on this. If you're a marketing guy, you see this happening, you're like, boss, I know what we can do. Reebok right now is making shirts with all these political jokes on them, and they're selling like crazy because they see that people are like on fire right now, and they'll buy a shirt that makes fun of Donald Trump, that makes fun of Hillary Clinton or Elizabeth Warren, because all those people suck. And they're all shitty people, and we all like to make fun of them, right or left. I don't care which side you're on. They're shitty people, and it's fun to make fun of them. And they see that, and so someone probably in the marketing department said, hey, boss, let's do this. And they're like, cool, let's do it. And, an entrepreneur sees that, and they say, I'm going to do this. I know how I can fit myself into this, and how I can, make something out of that and add value for people. And so my goal in all this is hopefully to find a way to grow into an entrepreneurial scene, and to be running my own business. I wouldn't mind even if it's a side thing simultaneously while I work for a while, or a long time even, like until, I just want to make sure that, I can set myself up financially. And the other thing too is I want to be dependent upon myself. Yeah. Because right now, if people make bad decisions at the top and they do stupid stuff, then that could affect whether or not I have a job. And that's not, what I want to have happen. I don't want an Enron scandal and all of a sudden, I learned that my 401k hasn't been going to a 401k, or employee stock hasn't been going to employee stock, and they've been defrauding me, and this company goes under because they've been defrauding stockholders. I don't think that's going to happen. I know it won't happen. But, you don't want to seem like, in this, so for me, I'm not too worried about it, really. But for people, you don't want to have to be relying on that, because those kinds of things can happen. Someone could make a bad decision. Someone could bet on everything on black, and it turns out to be red, And so that's kind of the way I see it, is you gotta, for me at least, I want to be relying on myself to succeed. I don't want to have to rely on others. I don't want to, and so I think that I can get to a point in the near future where that's the case. But for this is just fun. I just want to really, for me here, this is just really a hobby. I mean, obviously I only have one subscriber right now. I'm not looking to get monetized anytime soon. I'm definitely not looking to live off YouTube monetization. I don't think it's anything that you can. I might be wrong. Maybe you can if you really are popular, but I don't think the ad revenues from, YouTube's going to pay the bills for me for real. Not the ones that, not in the way that I would like it to be. But, so that's kind of what I'm doing right now, is looking at how I'm going to make that transition, and when I want to make that transition, and what I want to do when I do make that transition from working for somebody to working for myself, and maybe employing other people to work for me. But that's kind of where I want to go, and so yeah, that's the whole intrapreneurial versus entrepreneurial thing. And I just kind of thought I would give you a little bit more of my personal life, I guess, a little bit. I've talked a lot about like my thoughts on things, but I haven't really given you as much about who I am. So I want to do a little bit of a video here where I talk about where I am in my life. I got, like I said, a year left of school. Especially once this is done, I think we'll kind of have a better idea. So if you get in now, you can kind of see my transition over the next 8 months into a college graduate, and seeing, looking forward in life to see what it is that I'm going to really be doing, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't plan to be where I am now in 5 years. And that's one thing that I want to encourage, people when I see, if people do watch this in the future and come back and watch old episodes, when I hopefully get somewhat of a following and people are kind of digging what I do, I hope that people come back and see this and say, and hear this message, and that is simply, look in 5 years where you want to be, and take actions today to take you to where you want to be. Because if you want to, move into another industry because you're not happy with your job, start working on it now. Because if you put it off for a couple years, then you delay your ability to move into that other industry for a couple years. I mean, who knows? You might soar with it and just be done in no time, and you can change over. I mean, my little brother started taking flying lessons, and the guy, my little brother's 14, and the pilot instructor was like, yeah, I see one problem with him so far, and he's like, and that's just going to be that he'll be ready to take a solo flight, which was to do before you can get your license, before he's even old enough to get his license. So you can have that, and if you do, then that's fine, because as soon as you're ready, you're ready. So for me, my grandpa always said, success is when preparation meets opportunity, or when preparation and opportunity meet. You have to prepare yourself for the opportunity that comes, because opportunity is going to come. You only miss opportunity if you're not ready for it. If you're ready for it, then you grab onto it and you soar. I mean, it can be incredible. But if Steve Jobs, didn't know how to code, or if Bill Gates, and Steve Jobs, I guess, didn't know how to code, if you had, Henry Ford didn't think of, wasn't an efficiency guy looking at he didn't see the possibility of the assembly line. God, why can't I think of that word? If, Thomas Edison didn't have the will to like keep going, you know, if all these people didn't have that thing, then, you know, they wouldn't have gotten there. And so it takes, you know, preparing yourself constantly and for something different. So whether it's just reading things you wouldn't normally read, or watching videos, or listening to podcasts that, you know, challenge you to really think about things and to open your mind to new opportunities. To me, like, my newest opportunity that I'm looking at is like cryptocurrencies, and I want to understand this stuff. So I've been doing research on, I'm going to really start delving into it. I've been kind of doing light research to get the basics and understanding so I can, you know, buy it and start holding it until, because I have a feeling that as people realize how valuable a lot of these things are, you know, you'll start seeing the price go up. So if I can buy it now while it's cheaper and use it as a currency later, then I get a little bit more bang for my buck, you know. But, you know, right now it's a speculative thing. It's like stocks. But eventually I could see it, you know, being a currency, and I want to understand how to, you know, facilitate it being a currency so that I can maybe capitalize on that earlier than other people, you know, and know which ones are going to be winners and losers when people are starting to invest in these things. Because I'll understand what at least if I don't know how to code it and do all that, which I don't know. I mean, I probably could learn, I guess. I don't know. I'm decently smart, but I don't know. I'm not great with technology. My little brother still has to answer questions for me on YouTube. So a little bit. I mean, little pointers to help me get through it without me having to look for it too much and figure stuff out. But so yeah, no, that's that's what I'm looking to do, is so that when the time comes, I understand the terminologies and I can read what a coin is, and before I go buy it, and I know whether or not it's going to be valuable, or whether or not it's going to stick around, you know. So prepare yourselves every day so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready for it. Because that's what I mean, every day, like, my family makes fun of me for reading like weird shit, and I do, but like, I'm just preparing myself every day for what it is that might come along. I don't know what the world's gonna look like in 2 years. I mean, if you told me, you know, I mean, 2-3 years ago that the world was gonna look like it is today, I would have told you you're an idiot. I mean, if you told me that the guy who ran The Apprentice was going to be president, and that you know, Republicans were voting on how to expand Obamacare, basically, and they were just putting off I mean, you know, and that, I mean, and just what the hell. I mean, you couldn't write this shit in a sitcom, and it's really happening in real life, where I have no clue. So I have no clue what's going on. So those kinds of things are what you need to look out for. And just, if you see something that's a trend, you know, look into it and see what it is. And if you can figure out how to make that valuable, even if, you know, I mean, not every trend lasts forever, but I mean, someone added value with silly bands to people and made lots of money off of it. But you can do that. But also, you can see trends that, you know, go on for a while, and then something's going to take over. Something's going to take its place. But, you know, you can still add value for people in the meanwhile. And so that's where I am, I guess, with this whole thing. And I know this is a little bit longer video, and it's a little bit of a ranty sort of thing, but I just really wanted to kind of get that out there. So if you have ideas about this kind of thing, or if you really want to talk or ask questions, I'm not the most well-versed person, but I can definitely point you to people who I listen to, and I would be glad to. I talked about Jack Spirko. He's a great influence on entrepreneurship. He really is. Jason Stapleton is a good one as well if you're looking for it. But, you know, comment, please, and give me ideas, and so I'm not racking my brain trying to figure out what to talk about. And, you know, I just want to kind of start this conversation, you know, here, and take part in, you know, what our generation's conversation is. Because guess what? You know, people my age, in 10 to 20 years, we're the decision makers in the world. And so that's why I want to really refine my intellect, refine my understanding and my wisdom of the world, so that when 10 to 20 years comes, I'm in a position that I'm confident where I am, and where, you know, my family is, and where my community is, that we're doing the right thing and that, you know, we're making good decisions. And that's where I want to be. And that's why I'm joining in on this. And so if you're with me, you know, subscribe. You know, I would love it. I want some people in here joining in on this. Like my videos, help me out with that sort of thing, and with reactions and getting me up on higher up on the YouTube page. And definitely just comment, because that's the biggest thing, is this is a conversation, man. And so I really want people to be exchanging ideas, even with each other, with me, asking questions, all that, please. But that's it for today. I'm Jamell. Thank you for coming in and watching my videos, and have a great day.